lot of people want to get into trading, want to get into crypto, but they don't got no bread. So I tell you, another way you could leverage the credit is by, that week we're going to be talking a lot about funding, but more so from the aspect of how to scale, how to start and grow your funding company, right? Yeah. A lot of people think that in order to, we talk about funding all the time, but people, number one question is, how do I get leads?
Right.
How do I get the clients, right? And a lot of people have the misconception that you need a big social media following. They might see me, they might see you and say, well, I don't have that following, so I don't know if it's going to work for me. I got students with less than 1,000 followers who's making $20, $30, $50,000 a month. Right. Yeah. And one of the things we do is we teach you how to leverage relationships, right? Relationships are key for everything in business, in your personal life, all that. But in the funding space, you got to think, if you got a community, one of the plays I can run is I can say, Ben, man, let me come speak in your community. Let me give them some free game. And at the end, I'm going to say, how many of y'all would just like me to get you funding? How many people you got in your community?
Almost 19,000.
Come on. I'm going crazy if I talk in your community. Yeah. Even if on the worst end, I get 20 qualified people. We're getting people $100,000 on average, right? $100,000 of funding. I get paid 10% commission. So we're talking about $10,000 a pop. If you gave me 20 people times 10,000 on the low end, that's $200,000. Now the incentive for you might be, okay, Ben, I'm going to kick you back 20% of that. So now you're getting $40,000 for allowing me to come speak in your community. It's a win for me because I made my bag 160. It's a win for you. You left for 40,000. It's a win for your community because now more people are impacted, which brings your community more value, which allows you to sell to more people. Right. So that's one way that you can leverage relationships. Speaking to coaches and consultants who already have programs. All right. Another way you could do it is this. My acronym I use is who has my money. So a lot of people out here, credit repair specialists. A lot of people out here, tax specialists. A lot of people are here in real estate, right? So with that being said, we could partner with those people. Tell them, hey, how you doing? I see you run a business. Would you like to partner and make an extra $20,000 to $50,000 this year without doing any work? I'm going to do all the work. I'm going to do all the funding, and I'm just going to kick them back a percentage. So when I start to understand how to partner with different people, I don't need a big social media. I don't need 20,000 followers to go make this money. So it's easy out here, and I'm going to break that thing down for people so they kind of understand DM scripts, how to really get people to want to work with you, to buy into what you got going.
How do you maintain getting all the leads in?
Now, for sure. So what we have our onboarding form, right? And we're going to walk through this too, but it's essentially a process, how to qualify people, because everybody want funding, but everybody don't qualify for funding, right? Yeah. So what happens is we create you could do this on Jot form or Go High Level, and you'll have essentially onboarding questions, and they have to fill those out. What's your current credit score? Do you have any negatives? How many primary accounts? How many inquiries do you have in the last 6 months? And based on how they answer these questions, the form is going to let us know, and we know if they qualify or they don't qualify. If they don't qualify, you can set up an automation that sends them right to credit repair. If they do qualify, we're going to notice, and then what we could do is we could tell them the next steps. Next steps would be we get on the phone, we let them know, hey, the way this works is a 10% success fee. You have 3 to 7 days to pay us once you receive the funds. We'll be applying on your behalf. Is that okay? And one thing I do is I'm very clear. So I tell people, for example, and I give them 3 examples. If I get you 50,000, you'll owe me 5,000. If I get you 100,000, you owe me 10. If I get you 200,
okay.
That way there's no gray area.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And what I tell people, because a lot of people think, well, what happens if people run off with my money? Well, we have contracts. We have a collection company that we can report to. And what we can do is I tell people, I'm gonna just say it on your podcast. Yeah. One thing is when we're filling out these applications on people's behalf, if someone plays with my money, I can just call the bank and let them know that this was fraud. So therefore they're not getting the money.
If I'm helping you make money, it's like, why would you try to run off anyway?
People get selfish, but poverty thinking. It's poor as a mindset, right? A lot of people got poor mindset based on their environments. If you've never been around money, you give a person who's never seen money or had money, it's an adjustment. That's why I tell them money is a mindset. You got to learn. You got to be around money. Like you start being around people who make money, you start thinking of it different. You start seeing value. But when you just getting it out the mud, sometimes you're not even prepared for how it's going to look. So when you tell somebody you got to pay them $10,000, even though they just got you $100,000, you can't fathom the thought of that, which is why I talk to my people, which is why I'm big on explaining things, right? Being person to person, because it's easy for a person to get to understand why,